Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 2, entitled The Activities of Maharaj Adnitra, verse number 17. Shri Sutta Uvacha. Iti lalananu nayati visharado Dramya Vaidatyaya Paribasayatam Vibhutavadum Vibhutamatir Abhisabha Jayamasa. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Suttadev Goswami continued, Maharaj Adnitra, whose intelligence was like that of demigod, knew the art of flattering women to win them to his side. He therefore pleased that celestial girl with his lusty words and gained her favor. Purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Since Teen Adnitra was a devotee, he actually had no attraction for material enjoyment. But because he wanted a wife for progeny and Lord Brahma had sent Purvachiti for this purpose, he expertly pleased her with flattering words. Women are attracted by men's flattering words. One who is expert in this art of flattery is called Vidatta. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport.
Here we are seeing thus far the words spoken by Maharaj Adnitra to the celestial Apsara, Purvachitti, and how he has pleased her. And finally she accepted him. And now Shukadev Goswami is continuing to describe what has happened. In today's verse, Shukadev Goswami is saying, Iti lalana anunaya ati visharadaha. Adnitra ati visharadaha, very expert. He was expert in what? Lalana anunaya, winning over, in winning over a woman like Purvachitti, a woman like Purvachitti. Iti lalana anunaya, iti lalana anunaya, ati visharadaha, gramya vaidhagyaya paribhashaya. And being expert in winning over women, he, in order to fulfill his desire, gramya vaidhagyaya paribhashaya, and he spoke carefully chosen word, paribhashaya, tam vibudha vadhu. Vibudha means, it generally means devatas. Vibudha, enlightened. Devatas here. Vibudha vadhum, vadhu, unmarried girl. Vibudha vadhum, she was a Purvachitti, was a celestial girl. And Vibudha matihi, and Adnitra also, he was not an ordinary man. He also had intelligence like that of the demigod. Vibudha mati, intelligence. So Vibudha vadhum, Vibudha matihi, with his intelligence, abhisabhajayam asa. In this way he gained the favor of Vibudha vadhum, the celestial girl. Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, Sri Shuka Uvacha, Maharaj Adnitra, whose intelligence was like that of a demigod, Vibudha Matihi, knew the art of flattering women. Lalana Anunaya Ativisharadaha, to win them to his side. Abhisabhajayam asa. He therefore pleased that celestial girl, Vibhudavadhum, with his lusty word, Paribhashaya, and gained her favor. Tam Abhisabhajayam asa, gained her favor. Srila Prabhupada has explained in the purport, actually Agnidra, being the son of another great devotee, Priyavrata, he was also a great devotee. He did all this, speaking to her and winning her heart and getting her to accept. Prabhupada has made a statement here. Since Agnidra was a devotee, he actually had no attraction for material enjoyment, but because he wanted a wife for progeny, and Lord Brahma had set Purva Chitti for this purpose, he expertly pleased her with flattering words. So, this is an indication of how a devotee acts in this world for a certain purpose which he has been assigned in the service of the Lord. Agnidra had to have a good wife, had to have good progeny to continue the good work that his father had begun as a good king, looking after the citizens. And this material world has a very important purpose for the Lord. The material world is an opportunity for conditioned souls to become reformed. That is the intent of the Lord. And so he wants able administrators, kings who are able to work to fulfill this mission of the Lord. It's a serious mission for the Lord. The Lord has created this material universe. So King Agnidra, being a king, being responsible in his position, he wanted to ensure he has good children. And he had prayed to Brahma, and Lord Brahma had blessed him by sending Purva Chitti. And so he had to do the necessary things to win her heart so that she accepts him. Yesterday we have celebrated Nityananda's appearance. One of the songs composed by Narottam Das Thakur, he says, Ar khabe nitai chander karuna hoibe, samsara vasana more khabe tujja habe. He's praying, Khabe nitai chander karuna hoibe. When will Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, karuna hoibe, on me? Because if Nityananda Prabhu blesses us, what is the result of Nityananda Prabhu's blessing somebody? Samsara vasana more kabe tujja habe. Samsara vasana becomes tuchha. The conditioned souls, as conditioned souls, we have a very deep desire to lord over material nature. We want to enjoy material energy in various ways. And we use our intelligence and we try to accomplish this in different ways. So, when we get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, we become, this pursuit of material desire becomes insignificant. We understand that this is not the best thing in life. Life after life, I have been pursuing this, and it has not resulted in anything good for me. But I have to keep taking birth after birth in this material world. So, in order to go back to the spiritual world, we have to shut down our engines of sense gratification. And by Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, samsara vasanas, tuchcha, will become diminished, will vanish. So, in the context of this verse, Srila Prabhupada explains in a purport, in a lecture on this verse, how a devotee accepts material things. Prabhupada writes, of course, as long as we have bodies, we have to accept so many material things. But not in the spirit of enjoyment, but only to keep body and soul together. So, how we accept material things? Because even in our lives as devotees, we accept many material things. We are in a preaching mission, so we accept wealth, we accept opulence, we accept material facilities. How does a devotee accept these things? So Prabhupada is teaching us that we should accept not in the spirit of enjoyment. For materialists, yesterday I was reading one article, how they make a big issue of driving cars, owning a car and driving a car. And I was reading this piece of article which says, now there are people who like to drive cars. They make a special kind of a car for them called the supercar. And it has got much more engine power. And then people love to drive these high power cars, and they form a club called the Supercars Club. And you have to be a very elite person because the car is very expensive and you must be driving that kind of. These kind of desires people have, and they pursue all these kind of things. So, when they accept a car, when they accept a house, when they accept a position, everything in all of that, that spirit of enjoyment is dominating in people's mind. That's how materialists accept material things. Whereas Srila Prabhupada is teaching us that we do not accept with the spirit of enjoyment. So a devotee has to be careful about that. For me, that the spirit of enjoyment is not the driving thing. But I accept some things material in this world because I have to keep the body and soul together, because I have a mission, the mission of my spiritual master. To serve the mission of my spiritual master, I am accepting. So this is the spirit in which a devotee accepts. We see a similar spirit in King Agnitra. He is a devotee. He has a mission. He is a great father who was a great example of a great devotee. And now he also has inherited that. And he is a devotee too. And he also has an important work. And now for doing that, he has to have a good wife, good children, and so that the good work of his father and his good work continues. So these are all examples of great personalities who have appeared become part of the Bhagavatam. And so Prabhupada is giving this particular perspective of King Agnidra that he did all these things expertly because he wanted to win over Purvachitti so that he will have good progeny as per the blessings of Lord Brahma. Another thing that Prabhupada has mentioned here, women are attracted by a man's flattering word. So this is something that women should be careful about, not get carried away by a man's flattering. And men are by and large expert at that. They know how to flatter a woman and that way win her heart. And King Agnidra has done that very ably. And so he is described here as Ativisharadaha, Lalana Anunayati Visharadaha. He was so expert in captivating in his words, speaking those words, paribhashaya, in order to capture the heart of Purvachitti. And here, Shukadev Goswami has used a nice word, Gramya Vaidhagdhyaya. Vaidhagdhyaya comes from the word Vidhagda. Gramya Vaidhagdhyaya. He was expert, Ati Visharadaha, Gramya Vaidhagdhyaya. Vaidhagdhya, Vidhagdha means clever. And here it means Gramya Vaidhagdhyaya, compared in the situation of Purvachitti, it means an expert in the art of flattery and expert to speak correct words, right words, to captivate the heart of a woman, to capture the heart of a woman. And so, Vaidhagdhyaya, Gramya Vaidhagdhyaya. And so Prabhupada has brought this point out. One who is expert in this art of flattery is called Vidhagda. Rupa Goswami, a great acharya in our sampradaya, wrote many books, and one of the books he wrote is Vidagdha Madhava, which says Lord Krishna is an expert in speaking the right words to flatter and capture the hearts of women. So Krishna himself has this wonderful quality of Vidagdha, and so he is known as Vidagdha Madhava. So now, how do we understand this? The Lord does this. He flatters and speaks very sweetly, and he captures the hearts of gopis in Vrindavan. And why does all this happen? And why does Krishna do that? And how do we understand these? It's actually very, very perplexing. I've told this story sometimes. There was once a visitor to our temple. He came to visit. He's actually a well-known person, a Japanese. There is a animated film on Ramayana made by Japanese. It was made by a Japanese producer, Japanese director. His name was Yugo Sako. And Yugo Sako visited our temple because he had heard that we had done an animation on Krishna. And so we received him, and I met him in the temple's boardroom. And then he had come with a few more people. And then he said he also has a desire or has a plan to do a big, ours is a television series, right? So his Ramayana movie was made for the theater, like a feature film. So he said that I also have a plan after the Ramayan's success. It won many awards. And so he said, I have a plan to make a feature film, animated feature film on Krishna. And I have heard about your TV series that you have made, and you are in the temple, and this was This came from a temple. So I have a question that's really bothering me. So I said, what is that? So he said, you see, world over, there is an art of storytelling. And this is true of every culture, whether it's Western culture, Japanese culture, Indian culture. And in the art of storytelling, there is a hero, and the hero embodies all good qualities. And there is a villain who embodies all the bad qualities. And essentially, every story has this element. There is a clash between the hero, and the villain, and the good and the bad quality. And the story should move on and on and on, and finally, the hero should win, and the villain should be vanquished. And that is the storyline in every story which is appreciated in every culture in the world. But when I think about Krishna, I have a big problem. He has to be the hero of my film. But then I hear that he was committing adultery. He was playing on his flute and attracting the women who are all married to others, and they would come and he would dance with them. How can I say he is the hero? Because even in a most permissive, sensually permissive, materialistic Western world, adultery is not accepted. So how can I show the hero of my film does this and he is the hero? So that was the perplexing problem that he seemed. So it's a very, very genuine problem how to handle. In fact, I've had a conversation with a very strong practicing Sri Vaishnava. All his life, he has been practicing Sri Vaishnava principles. And one day, he had known to us for a long time and respects all devotees, respects Srila Prabhupada. So he also asked a very similar question. Prabhu, all my life, even I have been worshipping Krishna. Krishna is my favorite God. But then I have read in the Bhagavatam, he on the Sharad Purnima day, he plays on the flute, and these women, gopis, who are all married, and they hear the flute, and they leave their husbands away and come out of the house and come to the banks of Yamuna river, and Krishna dances with them. Krishna has said, Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. He has said, I have come to establish Dharma. And he is doing this. How can we understand this? This is so difficult for us. So you see how this is actually very perplexing. And here we are seeing that Rupa Goswami is describing that Madhava is Vidagdha Madhava. He has this art. He is an expert in flattering and winning the hearts of women, like he did with the gopi. In fact, the words that the prayer that we say, Preshtalibhi sevyamanav smarami divyat vrindaranya kalpadrumada Srimat Ratnagara Simhasanastha Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshtalibhis Sevyamano Smarani. Preshta Alibihi. Ali means girl, women. Preshta Alibihi Samsevyamano Smarami. And these gopis are, Preshta means confidential and very dear to the Lord. That's the meaning of the word Preshta. Just like we chant about Srila Prabhupada also, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya. Krishna Preshtha means very dear to Krishna. That's the position of the spiritual. Preshta alibihi. So the gopis are very, very dear. Parama Preshta Sakihi. In fact, Rupa Goswami, they describe how there are different kinds of associates of Krishna and the gopis. Among them, the 8 of them are considered to be Parama Preshta Sakihi. And so these are different things that are revealed about Krishna in the spiritual world. So, Preshtalibhis, he is surrounded by these. He is always in the company of Priyamandala Manditaha. So, he is always in the company of these beautiful women. So, why is it? Who is Krishna? Who are these gopis? Why are they with him? And why we still say he is the Supreme Lord? Actually, not an easy subject. In fact, in the Bhagavatam, it is said, we all know in our Sampradaya, Krishna spoke to Brahma. That's why we are known as Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Brahma is our first spiritual master who received the instruction from Krishna. So Bhagavatam describes in the second canto, after Brahma had performed penance and he had pleased Krishna, and Brahma is asking certain questions. He asks 4 questions, and in reply to those 4 questions, Krishna answers 4 verses, and that becomes the Chatushloki Bhagavata. 4 cardinal verses of the Bhagavatam, and that becomes the core, and then that gets elaborated in different ways, and finally Shukadev Goswami's version, or rather not even Shukadev Goswami, Suta Goswami's version of the description of the Bhagavatam, that becomes the Bhagavata that Vyasadeva compiled. Right? That's why the first chapter of the Bhagavatam is the questions by the sages of Naimisharanya. The sages of Naimisharanya asked Suta Goswami, and Suta Goswami explained, gave answers to those questions, 6 questions, and that becomes the Bhagavatam. And Suta Goswami says, I heard a similar subject matter being discussed between Shukadev Goswami and Parikshit. And so on the basis of that, I will answer these 6 questions. And he explained. And then Shukadev Goswami also, when he is explaining the Bhagavata Tattva, Bhagavata message to Parikshit, Shukadev Goswami also says, I have heard this from my father, Vyasadeva. I have heard this conversation from my father. And Vyasadeva tells that this conversation happened between Narada and Vyasa and so on. And that's how the original 4 verses gets expanded into 18,000 verses of the Bhagavatam. And then Prabhupada writes commentaries on all of them. So like this, the Bhagavata Tattva, which is to understand that absolute truth, what is the nature of that absolute truth, has been expanded. So before the Lord speaks the 4 verses of the Bhagavatam, Lord says, Gnanam paramaguhyam me yad vijnana samanvitam. This is the preface to the 4 verses. The Lord is saying, Gnanam paramaguhyam me yad vijnana samanvitam. The Lord is declaring knowledge about me very confidential. It's very mysterious. Gnanam paramaguhyam me. Me gnanam paramaguhyam. Knowledge about me very confidential. Paramaguhyam. Very mysterious. Yad vijnana samanvitam. Yad vijnana samanvitam gnanam me gnanam paramaguhyam. This knowledge about me is knowledge and vijnana samanvitam. Samanvitam means along with, associated with, coordinated with. So there is knowledge, gnana, and there is vijnana. Vijnana samanvitam me gnanam paramaguhyam. That vijnanas, knowledge, complete knowledge of me is very, very mysterious and confidential. Rahasyam tadangam cha. Rahasyam tadangam cha. Grahana gaditam maya. This is Lord speaking. Gnanam paramaguhyam me yad vijnana samanvitam sarahasyam tadangascha grahana gaditam maya. Gaditam means I am speaking. I will speak. Maya gaditam. I am going to speak to you about the knowledge about me, which is very confidential. I will speak to you knowledge about me, which is confidential, along with vijnana, associated with vijnana, and sarahasyam tadangascha, tadangam, rahasyam and tadanga. So, what did the Lord say? What did the Lord mean by saying sarahasyam tadangam cha grahana gaditam maya? Grahana means you accept, you take it up. So the Lord was telling Brahma, now I will speak to you that confidential knowledge along with realized knowledge, vijnana, sarahasyam, and the confidential part of that knowledge, tadangaha, and other associated parts of the rahasya. And all this, gaditam maya, I will speak to you, grahana, please accept, take it up. This is what the Lord is saying. So, what is that sarahasyam tadangam cha? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura explained. Prabhupada writes on that commentary on that. Sarahasyam, here rahasyam means prema bhakti, devotional study. I'm going to explain to you the knowledge about me along with realization, vijnana, sarahasyam, about love of Krishna, about bhakti. I'm going to tell you about bhakti, and tadangaha. What are these anga, parts of the bhakti that our acharyas describe? That anga refers to the regulative principles of bhakti, which will lead to prema bhakti. I will explain to you about all this, because then you can know me. So, jnanam Vijnana sahitam me gnanam sarahasyam tadangam gaditam maya gaditam grahana. Please accept. So that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu emphasizes knowledge about Krishna is very confidential. We cannot know it by ourselves. We can know when the Lord describes about himself, and so we must take it very seriously as it is. Grahanam, grahana, gaditam maya. Maya gaditam, grahana. Grahana means take it up. Accept this. So that is why you see in our sampradaya, there is so much emphasis in Prabhupada's teaching. We take the words of the Lord as it is. Don't interpret, don't make some other kind of pull out some meaning. As it is, take his word. If we don't understand something, acharyas who know the Lord, these acharyas, they are Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale. They appear in this world for the Lord's mission. Such acharyas, they have explained and elaborated. That will help you understand even more. This is the way, because grahana gaditam maya. We take the words as it is. That's why we say, don't do any speculation. We do not speculate. We take the words as it is. So, here the word Prabhupada mentions this verse in another very interesting context in the Bhagavad Gita. This particular verse, Jnanam paramaguhyam me yad vijnana samanvitam sarahasyam tadangascha grahana gaditam maya. In the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada quotes this verse in the purport. There is a reason why Prabhupada is quoting this verse. Because Krishna mentions the danger of karma, and particularly Krishna says, karma is such that jnana vijnana nashanam tasmatvam indriyanyado tasmatvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatarshabha prajahyenam papmanam prajahyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. Krishna is telling about Arjuna asked the question, why am I, even though I don't want, I indulge in sinful activities? Aniccan, I don't want to do that. But somehow there seems to be another force in me that is forcing me to act sinfully. What is that, Krishna? In that context, Krishna says, yes, there is another force of karma in you, in the living entity. And of course, Arjuna is also a great devotee, pure devotee. They are asking all these questions for us on our behalf. Arjuna is asking. So Krishna is dispelling the ignorance for our sake. So he is saying there is a force, and that is the force of karma. And in this verse, Krishna is revealing an important secret. How to conquer that? Tasmatvam indriyanyadav niyamya bharatarshabha. From the beginning, adav niyamya bharatarshabha. Indriyani niyamya, by sense control through regulation. Niyamya indriyani. Indriya niyama is by regulation. We have to control the senses. If we do that, this papmanam prajahyenam. Papmanam, it is a symbol of sin. It leads to degradation of the soul and more suffering. That is why Krishna says this is papmanam. Kama is papmanam. Prajahi. Jahi means to become victorious. Prajahi means you can become fully victorious. Prapapmanam prajahyenam enam kamam prajahi. Otherwise, this is jnana vijnana nashanam. Otherwise, kama destroys jnana and vijnana. And then Prabhupada further explains that in the purport, kama destroys the urge for self-realization. You see, we must have a strong urge for self-realization. I must know who am I? If I don't know who am I, what a big illusion I am subjected to. I don't even know myself. Leave alone knowing my wife, my children, my home, my job, my property, my world. Even I don't know me. And very nicely Prabhupada explained, karma is such that, pursuit of karma is such that it destroys the urge for self-realization. And then Prabhupada explained, jnana and vijnana in that context. Jnana refers to understanding the difference, our true self, and distinguishing it, discerning it from non-self, not nonsense, non-self. So many non-self, we are thinking I am that self. See the illusion we are in? That is why when we die, this body will be left behind. The body which I was claiming, me, myself, and I was working for this body. That's not myself. That is non-self. This body is not myself. My body, mind, all of that is non-self. Myself is the spirit soul. This is jnana. And vijnana means specific knowledge about that soul. All right, I am apart from this panchabhutas, ashtabhutas, 8 elements. I am apart from all that. Then I am a soul. Then what am I as a soul? And as a soul, I am part and parcel of Krishna. I am not independent. I don't have an independent. Just like sunlight. Is the sunlight independent of the sun? No. If the sun did not exist, the sunlight will not exist. It is integral, intrinsically connected. In the same way, we are not alone. We don't have an independent existence. So it's not sufficient to say that I have understood I am a spirit soul. No, then we must know what is this spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. And then relationship with Krishna. Who is Krishna? Who are we? And so this whole science of who is Krishna, who we are, what the material world is, what is the purpose of this creation, all of this is the confidential aspect of the knowledge. And when we understand in Krishna consciousness, in the Bhagavatam, it teaches that Krishna is transcendental, we are transcendental. Even the spirit soul is not a material product. And we have a relation, and he is the Purusha, we are the Prakriti. That's why in the Vedas, it said, Vedaham etat Purusham param aditya varnam tamasa parasta. He is the Purusha. He is the only Purusha. All of us are Prakriti. Vedaham etat Purusham. Now I understand he is the Purusha, recognizing that I am not the Purusha. And that Purusha, for his enjoyment, he has varieties of rasas, and his different parts and parcels serve him in different rasas. And that is how we understand one of the rasas is Madhurya rasa. And Krishna is untouched by any material quality. He is always pure, Niravadya. Niravadya, one of the qualities of Krishna, we chant in the Suprabhata prayers. Niravadya means no blemish can touch him. So even if Krishna dances with the gopis who are married to someone else, no blemish can touch Krishna, because this is a transcendental relation, transcendental activity that is happening. So to understand this, it requires a certain peaceful, cool head hearing. Otherwise, one cannot understand, grasp all these aspects, intricacy. That is why Anga is required, regulated devotional service. That will result in Rahasyam, the greatest Rahasya of Bhakti, devotional service to the Lord. And with that Bhakti, Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yashthasmi tattvataha. If you want to understand me tattvataha, in truth, it is through the process of Sarahasyam Tadangas. We see how all these things are so beautifully explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associate and given by Srila. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki.